Shatter, the exciting first book in a swashbuckling space opera series. Link in the description. Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, weekly Wing It number 95 here on Rumble and YouTube. And starting it off tonight, over to my left, we got in that big box over there, Frederick Guimond.
Howdy, everybody. How's it going?
He's a big boy.
And speaking of big boys, we got ourselves the ultimate kahuna. I thought you were only supposed to do that in private.
That's a very aggressive mating call made in public. No.
And also joining us tonight, we got James Esparza.
Hail, friends. Now I know what that sound was the last time I visited Hawaii.
Not many Hawaiians I know make that sound. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, homebrew. Hail, Christina. Nice to see you in the chat.
As over in the chat, who popped in a little bit earlier, we had Nikolai Powell. How's it going, Nikolai? I don't know if he's still around. I know he's in a much earlier time zone, so he probably hit the rack by now. And Christina. What's up, Christy? How you doing tonight?
And Mr. Fu Man Blue.
Fu! What's up? Hail, Fu Man Blue!
Do we think he was he auditioned for the Blue Man Group, but he was just too aggressive and too much of a showboat?
No,
that's my headcanon about him.
He's too cool for the Blue Man Group.
Are any of us cool enough for the Blue Man Group?
I mean, I think
none of us are cool enough for the Blue Man Group, but Fu Man Blue is way too cool for them.
That's true. That's true.
That's how it works.
Besides, I don't think that blue makeup is good for your skin, Kahuna.
Well, in ancient times, a lot of those, yo, what's up, AC? A lot of those ancient makeups
hit that like button.
Had really, really harsh chemicals in the metals and heavy metals mixed in with their paint. So that's why a bunch of these carnies from back in the day were like completely freaking bonkers. Was because they'd been putting like poison on their face and through their pores for like 10 plus years.
And then there was the term "mad as a hatter" for a reason, because they kept working with mercury.
How else are they going to get that authentic performance? Heavy metal, thank you, AC. What's that in reference to? The Blue Man Group? It can't be. Also, is artistus a real word there, Frederick? Just curious.
It's the Latin term for our kind, comic bookus artistus.
And how do you say "death to all demons" in Latin? Do we know?
Listen, I haven't done that class. Okay.
I think it goes "death to all demons" in Latin.
I just learned comic books in Latin. I didn't learn the demonology stuff.
I actually took a Latin class in high school. I cannot remember any of it.
I did not take a Latin class.
I didn't want to. I had to take a language. Said, okay, I'm Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I want to learn Spanish. They put me in Latin.
For the lazy in our society, if they are in like a two-year age group, like around like my year and the year ahead of us, we had the easiest like requirements going through school because they were in a transitionary period, so they didn't really know what to do. We didn't have to do a foreign language. I didn't have to really do algebra after I chose not to participate. Failed a couple of times.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, we didn't have to do a senior project. We didn't have to do like a couple of like the more common tests. I don't even know for sure if I did like the SATs. I might have not done the SATs. Yeah, it was.
You may have missed out. I chose a second language, and it opened a whole world for me. So I definitely recommend it to all the kids listening out there, which is,
Yeah, what was your second language?
English.
That's not a second language. It's everyone's first language.
Well, I was born in Germany where I learned French.
How'd that go?
Well, still
What do you
going.
mean? How did that go? He's like, yeah, times were tough.
It worked out. It worked out. It worked
That's
out.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Well,
Oh,
Christy
wait,
says
James, do you
Diablo
speak
Morte.
Spanish?
I speak a little bit, though.
Oh
it was
no,
for.
you're a fake Mexican. I knew it.
Oh, is that how it's? Because okay, you see that, everybody. You see, that's what makes Hawaiians so great. They can spot fake Mexicans from far away. It's in their blood.
Well, Christy says Diablo Morte is how to say death to the demons in Latin.
Uh-huh.
She
You know,
says she had to take Latin because
God
she was
bless
smart
you,
for English
Christina.
spelling.
I knew someone in this vicinity would know how to say it.
And I just want to say this is the most DEI panel short of a vagina because none of us are white.
Wait
Well,
a
I mean,
minute.
I'm pretty white.
Pretty sure I'm
And Frederick's
I
not.
don't know, Frederick.
Frederick
I saw
is
you.
shockingly
Look
white.
at my hand, and you
I
can
don't
tell it's
know.
not AI because it's got 5 fingers, 4 fingers.
Because you do
That's
seem
four.
to have a bit of a tan on you.
That's the camera. I got my good
Yes,
camera.
next to the white
Hey,
paper,
look.
his hand looks pretty tan, but
Oh,
Hey, I may be Spanish, but look at me. As white as they come.
whoa,
very pixelated.
so blurry.
I think he's AI. Wrangler is secretly AI. He turns into a robot sometimes.
Yep, a lot. Christina says I'm Native American and German. I've met a lot of those too. Yeah, I don't think there's probably not many families in this country that don't have, like, most of them have a little Native in them at this point. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Phrasing.
actually surprised to learn my family does not. We thought for certain that we were on my, at least my grandmother had a lot of her history that was just not available, and that was usually a dead giveaway. Oh, they were hiding Native American ancestry.
Well, here they whitewashed it. They gave it. They gave all the Native Americans European names in the ancestry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also,
But
all the old natives that I know who are not part of like a council or like part of like tribal leadership all prefer to be called Indians.
Yeah,
Like every
I mean,
single one.
if I go to Mohegan Sun, the casino out here, they have a garage called the Indian Summer Garage. I mean, they do not shy away from it. Oh, it's all the middle-aged white chicks that get all offended by it. Go figure.
I only learned recently that the term Indian was not actually referring to Indians like from India. It had nothing to do with why he called the Native Americans were called Indians back in the day.
It
Like
is
if we're
Columbus Day. Share the tale.
Oh, yeah, my sister a while back was saying like he was the worst human being in history. I'm like,
Really?
slow your roll, sis.
Yeah, I mean,
Read.
What was she
just-
doing? Listening to a college?
Yeah, it's just,
when she was in college, she got a lot of exposure to
Yeah.
just
they
inaccuracy.
really love hating him.
college. Not even once, man.
And you start comparing him to other figures of his time, there's way more brutal figures walking around doing crap.
The one that gets me is people who blame the Spaniards or Columbus or any of the explorers for like bringing disease to the natives. I'm like, we got like 10 or 11 diseases from them too. It was an unavoidable inevitability. It was not something that was going to be avoided.
And as a person who's directly related to at least 2 of the people who assaulted the Aztecs, I just like to say, I don't care.
I thought you were going to... That's only slightly better than I thought. I thought you were going to say, sorry, not sorry, but...
No, I call a spade, all right? Don't have to get fancy with it. I don't care. Sorry. Was it me? And I'm sure if it was me, I'd probably care less.
Oh, cripes.
Well, what's wrong with Columbus, Christy? I think, James, we were talking about this last night. He probably didn't even land in what we would call the
No, he
U.S.
didn't.
today.
Never stepped foot in the United States.
He was the first Florida man.
He wasn't even that bad. If you could, like I said, you can start comparing him to people of his time and shit,
Yeah.
Like, oh, he had slaves. Like, dude, the Indians he was talking to had slaves.
Everybody had, like, the entire world had slaves. What are you smoking, bro?
Like, this whole no slavery thing we're in is kind of a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's a pretty new. It's not a new idea, but it's a new. I don't know.
A new
I'm not
normal.
going to try to describe it. Like the modern Western culture is the
Awakening?
first culture in human history to do away with slavery as a societal like construct, like
Yeah.
on the whole, which is pretty remarkable considering the entirety of human history is filled with it.
And yes, there were some horrific things that happened, but slaves were treated more like good employees for the most part, because if someone bought slaves, they didn't want them getting sick or anything. They wanted to protect their investments, so they took good care of them.
Yeah, if you
some of them were
viciously
horribly
beat
treated.
the people responsible for building your crap, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I mean, it does for me in my work.
I mean, just to be fair, we do have wage slaves today, which are kind of,
yes, now we're all free range slaves.
They're taxed more than the old style slaves.
AC
Here's
Pritchard
something
says,
that people-
let's ask ourselves, what were the Aztecs famous for? Hugs and understanding. That's what
No.
And they invented soccer with like the decapitated heads of their victims.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, he saw what's the country just south of Mexico? I can't remember, but he was there and he saw one of those heads, like
Antarctica.
soccer balls with it. No, not in Antarctica.
I forget. I know the countries over there. I just don't know which order we're in.
There's so many of them.
No,
And there's certain ones you can't really travel through.
There's
without-
Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama,
Colombia.
El Salvador. Colombia's all down in South America.
Yeah, there's a really skinny portion in Central America it's basically you can't travel through there because you'll be killed. Like pretty much anyone. And like a Navy SEAL went through with a motorcycle one time, and he said he would never do it again.
Yeah, must have been crazy.
Now here's the thing. Mining. Do you know
Yeah.
why they would not send their slaves into the mines?
I don't know. They don't want them to die. I don't imagine.
Exactly. They were afraid that they would get hurt. So they sent the Irish in there instead.
Well, duh. So
What's
I-
lower than slaves? The Irish.
Damn.
well, I mean, you don't own the Irish.
Uh-oh.
At least not anymore.
What the?
See the blood
Whoa,
children,
that's weird.
the gods. That's what.
Everything
they're-
okay there?
Yeah, my computer just like, yeah, that was weird. My screens went
Really?
black. I couldn't see anything. That was weird.
Wow.
Your screen's frozen, but we can still hear you.
Yeah, that's not normal. Huh. Let me see. This screen's fine. How about this screen? No, that's fine. Whoa, what's happening? I'm going to try
Nobody cares.
reloading the page.
As long
Did you eat a
Okay.
mushroom?
I think he's tripping.
On the next exciting episode of Trippin' with Kahuna.
Whoa. I should go get a muffin.
Oh, no. What is wrong with my screen?
I
Oh
don't know.
no, we lost the kahuna.
This works. Let me try this. No, it's still boned. What is going on? That's really weird. It's a great face.
It's actually not a bad shot of you, at least.
It's not the worst it could have been. Oh, also that samurai picture in the background. I've asked someone else before, but does anyone recognize this as a property of some sort? I got this whole picture for like what, $19?
It looks like anime for sure.
It does. It looks like some sort of thing, but I don't recognize it from anything.
A little girl, a samurai, but I've never seen it.
So what do I do?
No.
Oh,
Afraid
it's interesting
not.
looking. I just noticed your subtitle, "The Woo in the Night."
I put it on a while back. I haven't found a reason to take it off yet. So
Well, at least that's not a bad screenshot of you there, Kahuna.
I know. What is going on though?
Makes
I
you
wonder
look inquisitive.
Oh, sweet! It looks like we got on panel in a few.
Oh, maybe it's OBS. Maybe OBS is all funky.
It's the Irish that are hacking you, man.
They heard me talking shit.
You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
Frankly, we all know it. Maybe if
The only bummer about you having a frozen screen is we don't get to see your hand gestures when you start doing the Trump impression.
I know. see. Do that.
Okay.
Now I'll open OBS again. So what takes longer for you, Frederick? Inking or pencils?
That's a good question. Usually, I can't say that I've measured, that I've like timed it, but usually in the business, inking goes faster than penciling, because penciling you got to do a lot of preparation. Sometimes if you got perspective to do, like this piece here has a lot of perspective. In this case, I cheated because I had a projector throw the picture on it, but you'll have like more work to do prep work, and when you're inking, the pencil's already down. You just gotta literally trace it, but make the line nice and smooth at the same time.
Oh, so you have to decide how much shadow to add, kind of thing.
I mean, that's a lot of times that's determined in the penciling phase, but yeah, that is delegated to the inker as well. You're not wrong about that. But like this one in the penciling stage, all the shadows are already there. Like I'm usually, before I start inking, I know where my shadows are going to be.
That's pretty sweet. Look, can we see that again?
Yep.
Yeah, dude, that was amazing.
This is a double page spread, so page 12 and 13 of Rattel. Okay. So don't show this to anybody.
As he shows it on a live broadcast.
That's nice.
We're just friends here.
Anyone.
We're just friends here. So a friend of mine reminded me that there's actually a hawk living in this tower here right now, and I'm going to add it coming out of the tower, flying.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah.
Nice.
Little Easter egg for those who know.
Yeah, a little extra touch. Yeah. It's a hawk that had eggs hatch earlier this year, but this takes place last year. But the hawk was already there. So, fun fact. But as you can see, like the black zones are already delineated out. That's not.
Man Blue and Christy are giving you accolades on this one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to be probably
it's a nice piece.
Doing some inking on that tomorrow. So check out my stream on YouTube, Frédéric Guimont.
That starts also at 8 o'clock, right? 8 p.m. Eastern?
Yes, that's correct. 8 p.m. Eastern. Just after James's stream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is at, I believe, 6.
Or at your time? I believe it's about 5.
5 Eastern, right?
5 Eastern.
Bat Sauce says, beep, beep, my ride is here. What's going on, Bat Sauce?
Me.
How's your book coming along, Bat Sauce? I think he's close to doing his launch now.
He's been plugging away on it. Oh, yeah, he and his lovely wife are trying to come up with baby names right now for their upcoming one.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't even hear about that. That's awesome.
I wonder if I was supposed to share that. Well, anyway, married couples have children sometimes.
I heard about this. I read about it.
Wait a minute. Isn't this a hate crime or something?
I can't too. They're the whitest people on the planet. Oh.
You see what I mean? This is terrible for DEI, man, and representation.
There we go.
What's
oh yeah,
up,
but they had one name picked out, but it's of a family member who isn't that great, and so they're like, okay, that's not going to work. Hey, Krishna, what are your kids' names again? I'm like, oh, Thorin and Elric. He's like, oh, dang it, we want to go with Elric. I'm like,
ooh,
dude, go for it. Elric's a great name. It's underused.
I mean, it's not like your neighbors, you know.
Yeah, he lives like in the wrong part of the country, so it's fine.
Appalachia?
Oh.
No, just eastern side. Yeah.
Oh, okay, New Jersey.
Welcome, Orator. Good to see you.
I thought the wrong part of the country was California.
Well, ask James about that. Yeah, that's more his.
I don't know. Trump was here. Trump was here the other day, so he didn't mind it.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he was down here in Coachella.
Though I don't count James as being in California because he's kind of in the desert in California. So I see him like kind of like on a compound like Mad Max, and he's like safe from the Californians.
It is hot out here.
At least in my head canon.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because pretty much every single president comes down here because we have like Palm Springs. That's pretty like well-known area. But Trump's
Yeah,
the
my parents
only
go there
one
every year.
that literally went to Coachella, like the town of Coachella. So yeah.
Well, like everyone thinks everything's China. Everyone thinks everything's close together down there, but just because you can see it doesn't mean it's close. It's like you can see it and it's like 500 miles away.
It's
like
like
300 miles
a
away.
45-minute to an hour drive away.
And you can see it from one town to another sometimes. It's so like because there's nothing but just open space and then mountains going straight up.
You can't see one town to a fucking another. There's buildings everywhere. You talking about?
Oh, shush.
Maybe if you're up on the mountain.
Yeah, oh yeah, I had a friend from Iowa. He came to move into Washington. He's working for us for a while.
He's
He's like,
freaked out
"What?"
by mountains.
Pretty much. He's like, no, he was freaked out by the people here in Washington, which makes sense.
Really?
But
Oh well, yeah, Washington.
he's looking around. He's like, "What's with all you Washington people in your hills?" I'm like,
More
you
hill.
need to explain a little. Ask a more specific question. He's like, "You guys just like to find a big hill and then build a house on top of it so you can look down on everyone." I'm like, well, yeah, you want to be one of those losers living down in the valley? No.
It's called security. Like that's where all the castles are. That's how you survive.
Also,
in
like
Montville, that's all there was. Every road in Montville is going up a hill around a corner. Just it's mountainous.
Plus,
I
believe there's an entire like old Seattle or some shit in Washington on the west coast there that was like completely flooded one time. So they just rebuilt the entire town on top of it. So how many times does that have to happen throughout human history before it's ingrained in your DNA that hills are just probably better places?
Yeah, you want to be
every city that's been around for a long time is like that, but Seattle has about 8 or 9 layers built directly on top of each other over and over again in a very short period of time.
That's why you have the expression, "I will die on this hill."
They had these giant toilets that worked based off of the tide. So if the tide's coming in, people would get exploded out of the toilets occasionally. They had them about 15 feet in the air.
Whoa.
That just must make. I mean, in reality, it must suck, but in the imagination, it makes for a good comedy.
That is one hell of a way to go.
That's terrible, dude. That's worse than getting shot on the can.
It's getting shot out of the can.
Getting shot out of the can. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, can I use the bathroom for what? Leaving yourself or transportation?
This may be the last time you ever use
yes.
that.
Well, I heard you guys talking about like Columbus and stuff. That's what got me interested to jump on here for the little bit of time I got. I'm basically, you guys got me until my wife gets home with food, basically.
Nice.
But actually, a fun fact is my full length novel. I was doing research on like quote unquote great figures, because spoiler, a lot of times there's a lot of aspects about these great figures that aren't so great.
Yeah.
No, they're all good people.
I don't think in any instance, except for, I mean, even Genghis Khan, there's actually a huge debate that he's actually more of a civilizer than a destroyer, and that's a whole thing. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're defending Genghis Khan, maybe reevaluate some stuff.
Well, there's a whole lot we don't know about that part of the world, man. There's a lot that's been turned over and swept under the rug.
Well, just in general, there's no denying it. Look through history, look at everything. Humans in general, we try to be good, but let's face it, we suck.
Yep. And it was interesting, like in the case of Genghis Khan, the more of a reputation he got, the more he leaned into it. But like at the same time, the guy was like super tolerant with religions because he was actually interested in other religions. So he wanted like his people to practice their own thing. Because he knew it was a great way to control them. Like that's a great way to be even more hated after you destroy entire cities, is to just like not let them do what they want or whatever.
Yeah.
But
most civilizations did that in conquest. When they captured a new territory, they actually showed respect to each other's beliefs.
Yep. And you can look at Alexander for that. That's BC. So.
Alexander brought Greek culture and beliefs to most of the world. Actually, that was his kind of contributing thing. And with Genghis Khan, the deal was at first he wasn't going to be very tolerant. He didn't really know how to show mercy until one of his advisors basically he
Handed him
Genghis
a copy
Khan
of Dale
did not
Carnegie's
give
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
pretty much, yeah. No, he figured out that Genghis Khan did not give a flying f about doing the right thing, and so he basically he had created enough situations where it made sense. It's like, oh well, this is the town in China where all the engineers ran to. Let's leave this town unspoiled, and then we can have them help our war effort, things of that nature.
Right. So,
By the way, I want to shout out Animation Overloads joined us. Good to see you, man.
I know the Romans, what they would do when they conquer somebody is they would actually engraft their gods into their own pantheon. Saying, your gods are, your gods are part of the exact same pantheon. Look at that. Whoa, kind of cool.
The Greek and Romans are almost mirror images of each other.
Isn't that what Lucasfilm did?
Animation overload.
And what you said about the Romans there, that exemplifies like kind of every aspect of their mindset. Like they got chainmail from like the Gallic savages in Britain, in BC.
Hey, we weren't that savage, okay? We just like to party.
I'm one of them, and I can vouch that we were.
Me
a little
too.
savage.
My ancestors come
like
from over there.
We did like to party for sure. Lots of
You
tattoos.
guys are Italian?
Gaul is in France. What's in modern day France?
Well, I go a step further and go to the Picts in Britain, like when the Romans were first like Boudica and all that, like Wales and like Scotland and stuff. Like Hadrian's Wall. That's where they got chainmail. Like they showed up and there's a lot of us that fought naked and stuff. You even get
do you fight differently?
But I mean, like the richest.
I mean, it freaks the enemy out. They don't know if they're coming to kill you or rape you or both.
Exactly.
Say less. They don't know if they're coming.
You got like 1,000.
Oh, you know.
1,000.
Oh yeah, AC. It was your fault. I was shirtless at that party too. He came out, give me a hug, and it exploded. It went everywhere. And then I was shirtless for 6 hours. That was fun.
Oh my fucking god! I didn't know that existed.
Yep, it does. Unfortunate. You can thank Billy Bob for that one.
Yeah, when you got like 1,000 erect dudes running at you with fucking spears and bloodlust in their eyes, and you're just like the farmer that got some armor from the government, basically. Like, how do you feel in that? Like, all those dudes are ready to kill you and more, probably.
Was it the Maori warriors that did that?
Oh, it was a lot.
The Maori were pretty. They did it later than most other groups of people.
Yeah. And even in that late stage, man, like, just imagine that. Like, you're like, oh man, these guys are on some other level. I'm just here. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's interesting.
Skunks!
What up, skunks? It's interesting with like the Columbus stuff though too. Like, you're right, there was like diseases shared on both sides, and travesties on both sides and stuff, and there is a lot of
fine. We'll bring the plague, and you give us syphilis.
Yeah. And also, when he arrived, it wasn't like all the local tribes were down with each other.
Exactly.
They were not
I was gonna say,
down with the sickness.
Yeah, because that's one thing people say, both sides, but there had to be at least 3 sides when he arrived.
And also, everybody's super man. This is one of my most interesting subjects because like my novel is a first contact story, and I use the knowledge of these great people that I studied, quote unquote great people, to
tremendous,
kind of
beautiful people.
You can look at like American history. Here, let me do this. You can look at like American history and like where that started. Fascinating stuff. Like, for instance, they say it's always tobacco, but what they never talk about like the early hemp production, because hemp just makes more sense to grow. It's like a weed, and you can make anything out of it. Whereas tobacco,
it was a huge resource.
Granted, you have to smoke a lot of it before you come up with all the ideas, but
that came later, Kahuna. But I'm sure it was there.
Okay.
That's part of the fun, man. That's the whole. That's the whole point,
dude. I think you can make rope out of this. Have you ever tried it?
Dude, you can make a sport out of it.
We can make a car, man.
Now get the pizza.
The hemp car. Remember that?
Yeah, it was a Ford product, I believe.
That's correct.
But yeah,
Oh,
like
wait, did I fix it?
early on,
No, you didn't.
Huh. I can in OBS it looks fine. What in the front flipping fruitcake is going on?
the early
Frozen Kahuna.
yeah. But
It looks like you just got insulted there.
No, that's not what I look like when I
Like I'm gonna beat the snot out of you.
Well, he probably did get insulted. We've been throwing so many
on
at
this
him.
stream, no chance.
We need Billy Bob for
that's
some
okay.
backup. Come here, help us insult Kahuna here.
I hope you feel better, Readout. Yeah, he's been running pretty hard lately.
Nice.
Readout, between school and making his videos. Check out his channel, Readout Productions.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, man, get well
Blue
soon.
Kahuna. Yeah. And since Skunks had popped up in here, that just reminds me, I wanted to play this.
whoever wrote that riff, I vehemently and violently agree with it. Yeah, it's filthy.
Well, the thing is, one of the developers' avatars in there looks just like you.
I'm sure. I get that sometimes. I have that common, as we mentioned earlier, Welsh face. Not quite French Gallic, but you can tell when someone's from Wales when you got an eye for it. Or like even just Britain. You know what I mean? That deep British heritage. And I promise it's not my janky, messed up teeth.
Yeah, even Badsaw said, hell, AC on Skunk's game. And Skunk says, big news. Skunk's Workshop gained a new team member. Did it come out of that game jam, Skunks?
Wow.
That's cool.
I agree with Frederick.
Jonathan, Orbital Leaf made the riff. The Skunk's Workshop musician.
Beautiful.
Ironically, I think he's the one that looks like you, AC.
Oh,
Let-
God.
Hold on, let me run through that again and see if you catch it.
Yeah. Jonathan?
You
Yeah.
see the resemblance there?
Yeah. You can slap them ears on anybody, and then I even got the common glasses too. So you throw these glasses, a flat bill, and them ears on people, and it's pretty close, unless they're like, I don't know, very different. But what I was saying earlier, because I'm running low on time here. When you look at the early American history, our crops weren't even growing, like the first explorers and stuff, and the settlers. Our crops weren't even growing because we didn't really understand how to do it on like the sandy, salty coastal soil, and it was the Native American Indians that came to us, and they were like, "Hey,
fixed. I'm so happy." Oh, okay, we're good.
but anyway, they were like, "Hey, we can teach you how to grow some food, and we'll even marry some of our daughters to you. All you got to do is help us kill our enemies." And us being like basically colonists from Europe, we're just like, "Oh, sure, you know what I mean? Why not?" And I mean, that's not for as dark as that is. That's not like a terrible like kind of first contact-ish.
Yeah,
situation.
imagine if it had been the Spanish.
Right. And furthermore, one of my favorite first-hand accounts of a first contact story is actually when they went up to like the Canada area. I want to say like Greenland. It was like the more icy natives that they encountered. You know what I mean? Like,
Icier native.
yeah.
Eskimo.
Yeah,
Eskimos.
yeah.
Eskimo.
The Inuits.
Yeah.
I love when they were looking for like this naval disaster, like two ships that went missing and like hundreds of lives lost, and they went up there. It's like we could ask them. Yeah, sure, we go over. Oh yeah, they died long time ago.
Long time ago.
I don't know why they sound African, but you know.
So I'm pretty sure this was before there was even colonies, and there's a first-hand account of this. So somebody kept a diary of the entire thing. Beautiful story. The Europeans show up. It's new land, crazy. This is awesome. They get down. They find the natives that are there. The natives are super friendly. They trade back and forth. Everything's super awesome. Like, a few.
Those are the French. If they were friendly, the French and the natives were very friendly here.
The French are actually
I've been told that, but is that true?
Yes, because the French took time to learn their language and spoke to them in their native language.
That's cool.
That's why Canadians are so polite.
The French have always had better relationship with the natives.
And if it was the Quebec region, it would make sense that they're French because French Canada.
Yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So,
Crispy, are you swearing at us in Klingon?
Macaque.
Micmac. C'est des Micmac.
Macaque.
Micmac.
Macaque? What?
So
Micmacs.
they traded with them and stuff, and they had Christmas. And I remember one of the details was the natives were extremely interested in European socks. They just thought socks were the coolest thing ever, and essentially,
Yeah, Justin Trudeau still thinks that.
they played games and they had contests, and it never. I think there was tensions rose a little bit at one point, but everybody just kind of got over it. And they left, and then I think a decade later, a lot of the same people came back to the same area to just kind of check on their friends. You know what I mean? And kind of see what's going on again. And a lot of the same people were there. They were super happy to see them. They played games and stuff again, and they found a lot of the people that they traded the socks to. They were using the socks as purses. Like Aladdin purses, little pouches to hold things in.
I thought you were going to say water filters, wear it all day, toss it off.
Oh, yeah. No, they ate them. No.
You know what would be cool? I just thought of it as a little animation in my head. It's what if, what if someone else landed other than the pilgrims, and it just goes through one nation after the other. And I just thought the Spanish or the conquistadors, they get there, where's your gold? That's all they say. Where's your gold?
It would look like the scene from Pocahontas.
He's where's your gold?
Savages, barely even human. I'm watch that scene back again now. I'm like, oh wow, this movie is really something.
It's very historic.
Freaking, you guys remember Mel Gibson is one of the main voice, he's John Smith in that
he's
movie.
the guy.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine the Spanish to ask, where's your gold? And as soon as they found out there was no gold, we're leaving.
Here, take these blankets.
Oh.
Also, Wrangler, I tossed an image you can share on stream if you like in the Discord. AC is working on adding color to it, and he did, but this is just the black and white version. It was a little commission I had done for the Iron Seas recently.
The black and white version's clear.
Where in the Discord?
General Discord. Let me see. It's
I'm on. I didn't realize
Wing
it was
It.
under the wrong
Weekly
tab.
Wing It. Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, I was under the Castles and Crusades tab and didn't realize it.
Oh, I didn't realize that picture I posted there was inappropriate until just now.
Yeah, sure.
Hey.
Admittedly, I have to do some tricks to get the line work to pop when I color images like this that are flat. But I think it turned out good. My version's very different. Some of the details get lost in it, but that's okay because the whole thing is very high contrast anyway. So I wouldn't mind if you showed them, if you sent the other one, Kahuna. I don't really care. Can
we get the colored version? Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be
Is this for Iron Seas? I take it.
Yeah. There's me in the middle. There's Justin on the left.
Yeah, with a guitar.
Yeah.
And the Ace Andy's up above, swinging around like Tarzan up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Matt and I were talking about it, like, conceptually for the piece. First, he gave me a blunderbuss. I'm like, can I be holding a cannon? He's like, yes, you
Way
can.
cooler. Way
Yes,
cooler.
you can.
Yeah.
I figured Bad Sauce would be driving.
No, on this ship, nobody drives. We just crash.
Clearly,
Yeah. We
no
let
one's
it
at the
go.
rudder. There's a fight going on.
I like to imagine these Cthulhian alien creatures that are like attacking us with their hentai tentacles.
Oh, I thought it was a baby kraken.
I like to imagine that they're ex-crewmates that have been infected by the mind virus. They hear the call.
Animation Overload says, looks awesome.
No, it and like on I don't know how to share it in a clearer way, but it's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Kahuna standing behind.
Bats.
That's
You're standing
what it
behind
is.
Bats for safety.
I don't know, Bats. I've seen you in person, man. I think I could take you. Let's start a fight. It's like, I think we're gonna fight, and then he's like, all right. He starts playing gay chicken or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of it in time anyway.
That's That's
Oh, that's great. Oh, I did post the color version. It's going to be pretty unclear, kind of like on here, but it's still worth taking a look at.
Still, yeah, you can see a few things.
Now let me do this while I switch it over.
Switch it over.
Well, when I go to switch over, it's going to show like everything.
Everything.
So
Everything.
I'm gonna hop off here and just make sure everything's good for when my wife gets home. I appreciate hanging out, guys. It was fun talking about quote, unquote, great people with you. Are they bad or are they civilizers, products of their time, demons or angels in their own way? And enjoy the picture.
In short, yes.
Hey, thanks, AC. It was good to see you.
Oh,
Later, AC.
And my
Peace out, brother. Say hi to
final
Katie
thought,
for me.
the first contact stories aren't always bad, as much as everybody wants to say. They're not always bad. But you guys have a good night.
Peace out, brother.
Yeah, see you.
See you around.
And to be fair, most first contact stories, according to history books, they gave us in schools are like, and then the Indians gave us corn, and then we just killed all of them. Like, I don't think that's how it went exactly, but
He's like, then the evil
But then there was
imperialist-
Thanksgiving, and everybody ate and made up, right?
yeah. There's Thanksgiving, and they just forgave all that wanton slaughter that we obviously definitely did.
Yeah, and all the natives, they were all real cool with each other before we got
No, yeah, they were all cool, all of them, every single
all the
one.
time, all day.
What's interesting is looking at certain families of natives and certain tribes where they were just enormous human beings. Like a buddy of mine, he and his wife spent like $500,000 trying to conceive naturally. They just could not do it. It was not in the cards for them. So they ended up adopting this kid from the when they were there at his birth, and the kid's being born, and then his uncles come in because that's their sister giving birth to the son they're adopting, and the one is 6'9" and the other is 7'2".
Oh
And they're
wow!
like, oh yeah, this is
Basketball players.
our family have just been this large for all of human time. And so when I met his son was 13 and 6'4", 240 pounds.
We're going to need a bigger crib.
Pretty much, yeah. Definitely.
Animation's asking if your Discord. This is on Otter's Discord that we're going through.
Yes.
Yeah, I've considered making a Discord. I just don't think I have that kind of community that's large enough to need one yet. If I could justify it, I definitely would. But there's so many Discords out there. I don't want to overwhelm people until it's a space where more people want to hang out.
I see no reason to make a Discord because everybody I hang out, we're already on a Discord. What am I going to do? Make another one say, hey, hang out here, and it's the same group of people? That's kind of pointless.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yes. But yeah, no, I love it's fun getting another kind of backlog of art for different things, for the Iron Seas, for my own projects. I'm probably going to get the one done for me by Animated Moon. I'm going to get that printed on metal, I think, because it's such a nice image. I love that image. Just big old black and white. Yao Ming,
Yao Ming.
almost 8-foot giants are real. I don't know what accent that is. I apologize to most of the Eastern continent.
But I'm either on Otter's Discord or Royce's from A Drink with Crazy. Speaking of which, Comic Shop Wednesdays. Weekly live stream starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Royce from A Drink with Crazy, where he goes over upcoming books, comics, games, and more. Link in the description.
Hell yeah.
Tacos.
Also, is anyone here someone who reads like Brandon Sanderson at all? I'm going to be doing a live stream here soon.
I have read some Brandon Sanderson lately. I forgot the story exactly, but
Mist
pretty good. It was one about a sand wizard.
Oh, White Sands.
There you go. I read the first.
It's a
book for
comic,
that.
right? Yeah.
They have a prose version. I read the prose version.
Okay, yeah. I have. That's one story I haven't absorbed, but it's.
And can I just say, I hate how we just say the prose version when we can just say words.
I know some terms don't make.
It makes me feel too pompous. I'm just gonna say words. I'm a human being.
Thank you. We're just human men. We're just normal men.
Yeah.
Hey, watch out! You're gonna get flagged by what's his name?
Craig.
Don't tell Stuttering Craig. Yeah.
Yes.
The side scrollers.
Oh, I love this show.
I know. It's like it partially depends on the guest for me. Like some other guests, it's like I don't have that much time, so there are very few shows I try to catch every single show of. But
the Razor Fist episodes are good.
Yeah, that's usually those I watch. Yeah.
Well, Razor Fist is just a good personality on screen, so it's
period. He's witty, funny, the whole thing. Now that we're done jerking him off, has anyone read this? Thorgal, Child of the Stars. It's I believe a French fantasy.
Thorgal, Cité des Étoiles. Never heard of it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I read the whole. I read the first 20, 30 volumes when I went to what you would know as college. Our libraries had all the comics in there. Yeah, I read all of those.
Are they good? I picked this up just a little while ago. I've been wanting to read it.
It looks great.
The art looks really good.
It's great. There's a little bit of sci-fi. It's very strange. There's magic. It's sort of sorcery mostly. But
that's how sci-fi and fantasy used to be. Like they kind of just blend them together. It's like
there's a new one that just
elf and magic.
Like in the store window, there's like a new Torgal that just came out this month.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I've been trying to pick up some more stuff. My local bookstore stopped carrying all the newer, all the later deluxe volumes of Berserk. So I'm like,
really?
I was buying like one or two of those a month from you guys, and now you guys aren't carrying them to make more room for Romantasy.
Oh, well, if it sells, it sells, I suppose.
What a downgrade. But they were selling. To me,
what do you think is the allure to all the Romantasy, really, though? Why is that such a hot ticket right
It's
now?
fantasy for non-fantasy fans.
Okay, explain that to me, because I'm an idiot.
Okay. People read books sometimes.
Well, it's kind of like dreaming of the lottery, but it's alimony instead.
Well, basically, like you have the young adult fiction crowd, and years ago, like kind of right after Twilight, actually, you got a lot of these young adult fantasy, which were just more female-centric fantasy. Okay. But then those people started growing up and getting older and wanting a bit more smut in their fantasy, and then that's kind of that whole crowd kind of turned into Romantasy. It's all those. It's like not a Feast for Crows. Like the whole Sarah J. Maas kind of crowd all grew up and they wanted more spice and more drama and more in their young adult fantasy. And it's so
they wanted their same type of stories but in a fantasy setting.
They wanted adult fantasy now. They're adults.
And so people are taking the wrong lessons. They think everybody wants that, but more traditional fantasy readers are not interested in Romantasy.
Now, I probably would.
It's pretty bad.
I would have if I were a bookstore owner, I would have romantasy because it brings in the ladies. The ladies bring in everyone else.
It's a good point.
That's
Doesn't
true.
matter what kind of store you're running. That's the rule.
And do you know what kind of people Berserk brings in?
Smelly fat guys.
Nerds.
Christy
Thing is
says, from a girl, romance books and movies are so boring.
If they're done, like I dip my toe in every now and again, not into romance fantasy specific, not romantic.
I bet she watches Ghost at least once a year.
No, like I read the gal, but I don't remember her name, but the woman who wrote the Outlander series. I really like those books. I think they're really good. Like they are fantasy technically in the loosest sense. Like they have one element, but it's mostly historical fiction for the most part.
Uh-huh.
Are you judging it? I hear judgment. I hear it. I feel it.
But I'm wondering why it's so prominent now and all the other stuff is kind of shrank big time.
It's again, I think it's because all those people kind of grew up. They're no longer wanting the young adult fiction, which turned into very questionable young adult fiction. And so now that it's becoming like they're considering it more mainstream fantasy because it's selling more. And that's unfortunately, that's kind of true. More women are reading than men right now. And most women are not into fantasy like you and I, like even mainstream fantasy.
And
like they're not reading Jim Butcher. They're not reading Sanderson or any of the other big names. They're reading all the new crap. Like we had that whole video talking about the Fourth freaking Wing. And the problem with that is the Fourth Wing is not really, it's not the bottom of the barrel in that kind of fantasy. Wrangler, I know you liked it. It's not good. I'm sorry. It's not. It
was good, but there's a lot of things in there I did like. Her main features I didn't. Go figure. But I got caught up in how does this magic system work? Oh, look at these villains. How can they be beaten? I got caught up in all the nerd stuff, and then they kept with stupid drama.
I would say that another thing that we're not bringing to account is we are also in a post Game of Thrones world.
Yeah, because everything became like Game of Thrones in some part for a while.
Is that where it all comes from? I never watched Game of Thrones. I never read Song of Ice and Fire series. I never even knew it existed for the most part. It was just not on my radar at all. Is that where all this is coming from?
No. Basically, the last trend in fantasy was set by Game of Thrones, and that was like maybe 10, 15 years ago at this point. And now the new trend that's being set is two things. It's cozy fantasy, which is fantasy where there are no stakes and nothing happens. And romantasy.
A lot of people die.
Yes.
Isn't that a horror where there are no stakes?
Yeah, a lot of the time. Oh no, that's
Twilight is a.
The Twilight, people who read and enjoyed Twilight back in the day, they went into the young adult fantasy section, which was basically, it was more drama. It was more about the interpersonal than the fantasy aspect of it. Fantasy was just a vehicle to explore the interpersonal. And now those people all grew up or were already grown up to begin with. And they wanted more spice in their fantasy because women aren't as visual; they're more imaginative in that aspect or in that reality.
Yeah.
And so they started getting and that's why there's like almost all romantasy is very smutty for the most part.
But why is it that dudes got forced out of the reading market as much as they have?
I think it was primarily, this is just my freaking take, but I think it was almost like the death of the pulp. A lot of the male audience kind of went with it.
Not a lot of guys read, but
probably more into audiobooks because we can listen to that while we're working on something.
Yeah, a lot of the audiobook market is men, but a lot that is part of the truth. There are just not as many male readers as there once were. I think a lot of guys would rather spend their time like outdoors or playing video games or something a little more diverting in some ways. We're more visual. I think a lot of guys watch a lot of TV. I mean, women do too, but it's a big question, and I don't think there's a simple answer for it. Because obviously, we're all men, we're all
I
readers.
think you said
here.
it, man. Video games is probably taking a big chunk of that market. Same with comics, man. Comic sales are down, and everyone's blaming it on the video games because that's just huge, man.
I think I know part of the reason
Well,
why.
you can
Part
blame
of
the
it-
video games on me writing books.
Well, like
We'll see.
I think a big part of it is that people are like men specifically. The things that we used to get from books and or comics, like the escapism, the power fantasy, the male centric, like male ideal driven stories, are not as common. They're not encouraged. In fact, it's
Probably because they're
discouraged.
politically incorrect just for existing now.
Yeah. And like those things still exist in comics and in books, but it's not a main feature. In fact, it's discouraged now. So let's go to video games where you have actual choice in what happens.
And we're
Whether it's
practically being
competitive
forced
or
out of that
single
now too.
Yeah, that's kind of true. That's
But it'll die. Unlike reading, it needs men to survive.
Now you could finally play a black man in Japan chopping up Japanese warriors, you know?
I've never dreamed of something bigger.
Oh, now you know I got to play it. I'm going to play it as soon.
I have so many manga I still need to read. Oh yeah, I read Dr. Stone just the other night. It's the first volume anyway, because I haven't read or I've never watched the anime and I haven't read more of the story. It's just part of my single like first volume reading kind of experiment thing I'm doing. It's pretty intriguing. It's probably going to rate pretty high on my list, surprisingly.
All right, here it goes. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Culturally appropriate your copy in November.
Internet was pretty scattered on that, but I heard the words. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, my whole screen's going kind of funky here.
It happens. Let's see. BRB. Oh, Frederick was gone for a second. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just came back.
But yeah, no, it's interesting going through all these mangas. Some of them I've read before, many I have not. And some of them are weirder because I've seen the anime but not read the manga. So it's interesting to see the difference. I have some weird opinions about a couple of them. One of them being The Ancient Magus Bride. I did like the anime, but it kind of fell off for me at some point. I'm not really sure why. But reading the manga version, I think I might like the story in this medium better than the anime, which is a weird thing to say. I think the pacing just kind of works better. It gives the mystery, the expression, the wonder of the magic a bit more time to exist in some ways. Does that make any sense?
I guess so. I'm not familiar with either version, so.
Well, it's an interesting world, and it's again, because it's Japanese, things are not very are much less politically correct in these kind of stories. So he's like this ancient being, and then Chise is like 14 or 15, and she's the bride of the ancient Magus, and it's and it hasn't really like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean like bride in the traditional sense, but it's still like approaching subjects in a way that's a little not friendly towards Western sensibilities, so to say.
Now, what do you mean Western sensibility? We've lost our sensibilities years ago at this point, like almost a decade ago now.
That's true, but it's like it's the same thing. It's like I was reading, I read Naruto as well. I've watched the show. I hadn't read the manga at any point. The manga is very questionable in some ways. Oh yeah, they renamed the sexy jutsu in anime, but in what was it? it was like comfort girl jutsu or something like that, and then it was like when there's a whole bunch of the he used shadow clone and sexy jutsu to turn like create a bunch of naked women, adult women, based on his own look. I'm like, this is a very weird, this is a slightly inappropriate kind of subject for like 10 to 14-year-old boys. It makes sense, they would be interested in it, but still, it is weird.
Yeah, it's not age appropriate.
Yeah, at least, but
But
again, that's according to
neither is most of the young adult books nowadays.
Oh, young adult is no longer it. What it means is like 17 to early 20-year-olds. That's what a young adult now means, which is why it's so refreshing when a young adult book is actually like age appropriate for young adults, like teenagers and such.
I think I nailed that as long as it's kind of story that's up their alley.
Oh yeah, and they're like, like people say Harry Potter is middle grade, and I think it probably is, but it's definitely more young adults by the end of that series. So it really depends on where you draw your line, and genres are more for selling books than for helping people. Let's squeak. Hello, the Lord Otter.
Hello. How's everyone?
Steel and Stormbright, The Curse of the Star Wraiths. An exciting sword and sorcery adventure about two brothers trying to make their way in a harsh world. Link in the description.
Written by a water weasel.
Exactly. A very regal water weasel.
Yes. Very, very regal.
A regal weasel?
Weasel. We're not talking about otter and porn. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. My animation overload says, it's pretty much softcore porn now, the young adult book.
Young adult fantasy specifically, but yeah, it's
quote-unquote new adult.
Yeah, which is just young adults who want more smut. And that basically that's what romantasy is. We were talking about that earlier.
Should be called soon to be adult.
Yeah, but that's not true, because all of those people have kind of grown up, and most of them are adults by now. So like, and that was a weird thing again. Like,
like nobody grew into their old position they used to be in. They just all gone. It's evaporated.
Something, man. I don't know.
They're not reading anymore. The ones.
It is like the manga thing is funny just because I forgot. Oh yeah, I reread Parasite, and at some point there is just a dick. It's not now. It's not. It is seinen, so that it kind of explains a little bit, but it comes out of nowhere. Nothing had been that inappropriate in the manga up until that point. That panel, I was like, why?
It reminds me of whenever I
it
tried
goes Super Saiyan and the hair went blonde and longer.
It reminds me of whenever I tried watching Golden Boy for the first time, and I only knew that about that series for the memes. Then I actually watched it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is perverted.
Oh, so perverted, yeah. Well, like Parasite's funny just because like they got like the alien that is his arm from about here down is trying to understand humans, and so
I know what you're talking about.
And he look like first bad thing is it just gives him a little fun time, and he's like, stop it, I'm in a bathroom, there are people around me, what are you doing? And then afterwards, like, he sees a girl he has a crush on, and then like he looks down, his entire arm is just a dick.
Oh, that reminds, I think I might have seen that. Is that
It's Parasite. Yeah, it's they made an anime in like 2011 about it. That one's a weird one to look at as far as like the changes they made from the manga to the anime. In the manga, he's kind of like this good-looking, popular, like Chad kind of character. And then in the manga in the anime, they made him like a nerd that suddenly got like special like powers and abilities. And I kind of like that better in the animated version, but it like eventually the storytelling, they were trying to do like an environment, like save the environment because the alien, like it's so bad it even kills the aliens kind of thing. And the storyteller just did not have the chops to pull off that story without it being really cringy at the end.
Christy, it's probably my internet connection. I'm on Wi-Fi, and where I'm usually sitting or standing, I don't get the best signal. Now I'm outside sitting on my porch steps, and it's probably a lot clearer.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. Not bad at all.
Animation Overload says the Anije was Parasite the Maxim.
Yeah, the anime was Parasite the Maxim. It had this like dubstep kind of soundtrack, but it was good dubstep, so it was acceptable. But yeah,
Wait, what do you mean good dubstep?
there are different levels. Dubstep on the whole, I don't enjoy, but in the show, I think they made it work. It wasn't like the Doom video game. It was better. Does that answer your question?
I'll allow it.
Your terms are acceptable.
Pretty much, man. But yeah, no. Romantasy on the. I wonder if Romantasy, it's not entirely organic because they have pushed books, like basically the publishers they pick what books. Occasionally they'll pick a book from an unknown person to push really, really heavily, an untested book. And it usually has to do with a change of the market that they want to bring about. And so I remember when they were pushing Fourth Wing like to the high heavens, every single Costco had piles of this book. Every single bookstore had it prominently featured. And it was not because it had sold well, super, super well already. It was an artificial push by the market, by the publishers to try to make
if you
that.
put it in every store, in every window, of course it's going to sell well.
Yeah, well, when I went through that and analyzed what the major villains in that could do, how they operated, and because I did a whole video, Iron Age characters that could take down a Venom. I'm very sorry to say, Haley cannot do it.
Oh yeah, Haley is very powerful actually, but
she could tussle with one and get away possibly, but she doesn't have a means of even injuring them.
I could argue that
Elizabeth could do it though. She has the means.
I could argue that Haley and Elizabeth are both arguably more powerful than Stormbright. It's just Stormbright has the exact ability that they're weak to.
It's like Pokemon type. It's like you have the right type
transference
for it.
Yeah,
it's like they got the oomph, but it's not on the wavelength to affect them. But in the second book, with Elizabeth becoming a paladin, she has a means of actually injuring them.
It's always interesting trying to talk about like different book characters, putting them in different settings. And like there's basically two ways to do it. You have to take them as they are in their own series and bring them over, or you have to like imagine what they would be like in this other alternate setting. And that's where things get kind of tricky, because like if you drop Guts into most universes, he's just like as he is, he's just a monster.
He's gonna destroy them.
On the other hand, like if you
a lot more evil.
If you dropped him into like A Song of Ice and Fire and gave him a similarly like terrible childhood, he would probably be more like a Gregor Clegane or the Mountain kind of situation. Like he's a big guy, he has a sword.
Plus, like one thing people often forget, and this one thing I always bring up in this conversation, is the rules of the character usually expand beyond them, and it's more so the rules of the universe itself.
Yeah.
And I use this as an example. Me and Wrangler, I told him this once. You could take Predator, and if he finds himself in Kevin McAllister's universe, no matter what he does, he's not going to kill that kid.
Right.
No, he's going to become president falsely. Wait.
Well, then he becomes a child predator. Kind of changes the plot a little bit.
Have you guys seen that video of the kid who wanted to be dressed as the Predator? He's like, "Dad, look at me! I'm the child Predator." It's like, no.
Oh no!
His dad's like, his dad's like he's filming. He's like, "You can't say that. Don't tell people that."
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
That's
bad.
one reason why I never went into soil psychology. I mean, psychology. That's a problem. Soil mycology, because the scientific name or the specialty name you'd fall under is a pedologist. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
Put
It's
that
probably
on
not
put
wholly-
that on your resume.
Let's put it this way. It may not be pronounced like that, but it's definitely spelled like that.
That's unfortunate.
Well, it's like if you go for therapy and you go up to the door, it says the rapist on it. It's like bad marketing.
There was a comedian, was it Kathleen Madigan, this female comedian? She's like, anyway, I've been going to see my therapist, or I like to call him the rapist. and she's like, he hates when I make that joke.
I wonder why.
Kevin, I'm right. Wait. Let me do this right. I'm right here. Kill me.
Yeah.
Oh Christ Almighty!
No matter what the predator does and tries, he just gets into like a deeper hellhole of nightmarish traps that would kill a normal human being.
Yeah. At least Haley can rest assured that the predator cannot sneak up on her because of her empathic senses.
She'd be really creeped out though because she couldn't see him initially. That would be rather disorienting.
Actually, she would have a better chance of seeing him if it was dark out because she switched to her other vision, and in that he would show up. But
yeah, that's true.
That's like an asterisk. I don't think that scenario would automatically be going on.
But Wrangler, can she bend a tree in half and turn it into a bow? I don't think so.
No, she cannot.
I do have a question.
She's not that strong.
Guts, referring to Guts, how bulletproof is he?
It depends. His armor's pretty thick. His sword is pretty thick. He uses his sword as a shield as often as he uses it as a sword.
How much bullets has he stopped?
Otter, he's taken a couple cannon shots. Has he? Like, they don't really have gun. They don't have pew-pews in the traditional sense in Berserk, do they? Not that I've seen.
It's mostly cannon fire. The big thing that he'd be defending with is his actual sword. He'd be like holding up the flat of the blade, so that way it's blocking most of them. That said, if it's like bullets or something, he'd still likely get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It just depends on whether it was something vital or not, and whether it penetrated his armor.
Right.
Because if he found himself in my universe, someone's just gonna put a sniper round through his head. That's it.
I'm curious, for those who have read Berserk, I have about 25 titles, like volume 1s that I'm reading as part of this whole thing, and I've added a few more. Where do you think Berserk Volume 1, as a standalone like entrance into a manga, where do you think that'll rank in a grouping that large?
Quality-wise, or...
Yeah, quality and personal enjoyment for me. It all kind of ties together.
I mean, you'll know in the first 5 pages how people feel about it.
I would argue the first 2 pages.
Yeah,
I'd argue that too.
Yeah. That's kind of the litmus test, because if you're not offended about that scene and you're like, okay, this is fantasy, let's get into some of this, I think they'll enjoy it a lot because the art's great and it's really well written. But if the subject matter is too much, it's taboo for you, you're not going to have a good time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going to have a big old asterisk on any of my videos when I'm talking about certain things. It's like, I'm even going to have trouble like recommending, like Naruto is it's a really good volume 1. I really like Naruto actually in the manga version. It's better, I think, because the pacing's
there's a few
bit better.
panels.
I'm guessing a lot of it's just a lack of filler, because I think that's what killed the anime in a lot of ways.
The anime has so much filler, and it's painfully slow to watch.
A lot of it's terrible filler too.
It's
like,
so
really
good
bad.
when it's good, though. That's the problem. Like Naruto, when it's good, is really, really good.
Yeah. It's what makes you fight through the pain, pretty much. But as for my own ranking of Berserk, like if I was to give it a scale of 1 out of 10, 1 being
because remember,
lowest,
this is just ranking volume 1, not even like the first 3 volumes. It's just volume.
Yeah,
1.
just volume 1. I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10. It's above average, but so what I think it does very well is it sets the tone immediately. It's pretty much like,
yes,
if you're not okay with the subject material, stop here. I actually like that.
I think it was entirely necessary, actually, just because
the downside is these are arguably some of the worst chapters in the entire series that it starts.
And they're
off
still
with.
very good, and they even hint at things that are only being revealed like now in the story.
But it gets so much better, so much better.
Yeah. And it's like Dr. Stone is going to rank higher than I thought it would. Dr. Stone is a really interesting balance of storytelling and cool factor and science and character motivation, things of that nature. It's in some ways it's because it's so simple. Like I think Dr. Stone's going to rank pretty highly when I'm putting them in an order of some sort. Weirdly, another
his
one
principal.
that people would not expect that's going to rank really high. It's going to be probably in the top 5 or 6. Is Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1. That story start in the manga wise starts off really strong. Like the art is really good and the storytelling is dynamic and interesting, and it sets the pace and the tone like right away. It does a very, very good job as a volume 1.
Tokyo Ghoul?
Yeah, that the worst anime adapted show of all time, maybe besides Berserk.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So the
I've
manga's
heard
good, but
horror
the anime's
stories
bad?
about season 3 of Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that gets shit on routinely.
Oh,
Season 2 has a lot of problems. Season 1 is honestly not that bad. I think season 1 is pretty good. People kind of ignore it because of how bad the other 2 versions are, but season 1 was a pretty solid show.
And as you've been going through all these first editions and crap,
Mhm.
I myself have been going through horror movies, and I have watched a lot lately. Surprisingly, the Jason movies are actually pretty good horror flicks because they actually give some of their characters character. And
Yeah.
particularly Jason 3 was way better than I thought it would be. Because the majority of the film is just setting up characters, killing off side characters, setting up your main group, killing off side characters, and then your main group starts getting picked off, and you don't know you kind of know who's going to be the last girl, but you don't know if she's just going to be alone. You don't know who's going to die next. Kahuna
Was
just
that Manhattan?
No, part 3 was just kind of them going back to the lake. By Manhattan, I'm pretty sure it got crazy. But I also watched. Anybody remember the movie Bats, 1999?
Bats?
Yes. Where
I can't say I do. No.
Where
I
Lou
don't.
Diamond Phillips plays a Texas Ranger, and
I feel like I saw part of that on TV.
it's about man-eating bats. And it's hilariously bad, but I'd say it's pulpy. It's very pulpy. I felt like I was watching a pulp adaptation with that.
I totally get that vibe too.
Yeah.
The Lore Raider brings up a good point, but say less. Most horror franchise start off really good and then they get bad and stay bad forever.
They very much do. They go off the rails. Jason,
There are a couple of exceptions. In the Final Destination 5 is probably the best film in the bunch, in my opinion. I think
I don't know. That first one was good.
it is good, but it like there are actual scenes in the Final Destination 5, not just the movie. It's like actual put together, well directed, well acted scenes, not just
Now, one that was a blast. I talked to it with Otter, maybe some of you guys off stream, but Freddy versus Jason.
that movie.
Oh, yeah,
is
you talked to
so
me about
funny,
this.
dude. That movie is
funny.
a riot.
It's a blast. It is just a throwback to exploitation.
It also knows exactly what it is and does not pretend to be something else.
Oh yeah, exactly. I rewatched it twice because it's just that funny. It's that good. It knows what the audience is there for. I mean, it's pretty dumb if you try to piece together a story.
Oh yeah, there's a lot, so many weed jokes and so much, so many like dad jokes almost. I'm like, what is this movie?
Yes, because that was, you see that early 2000s inspiration. There's a lot of weed humor at the early portions. They literally have a Jay and
Not a
Silent
bra in
Bob.
sight. It's a great trend. Anyway,
A lot of fake titties.
Have a great night, Animation Overload. Good to
Yeah, it
see
was
you.
it was very 2000s. It's a very
animation
2000s.
overload. Okay, there we go.
Very 2000s. But my head's just been down the horror trail of movies. The last one I watched was The Faculty, which is still good and one of my favorites.
Was that who's
Elijah
in that?
Wood.
Huh? I'm not sure I've seen.
And essentially, it's an alien invasion flick, but it starts off at a high school, and it's about the high school students. Like, hey, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, I think I know about. I never saw
Josh
it. I think I
Hartnett's
know
in
of that
that one.
movie.
It's pretty good. You can see the Scream influence on it. That's another thing that I think a lot of the movies after Scream had. They had like this kind of pop horror thing going on.
Well, there was a bit of like they all had a meta to them because they thought that's the only thing that made Scream good. Scream is weird because I think more of the Scream movies are like the Scream movies on average have a higher average
They
quality
are.
for a
They-
franchise.
True, that's true. Compared to
Yeah.
like most other franchises, and
Freddy,
they're going on
Jason.
like Scream 6 or Scream 7 already.
Well,
So
there was
they
some good
reached that point.
Freddy's. It's kind of, it reminds me of Star Trek. It's like the uneven ones were good. If you skip the even ones, you were fine.
that's
Well,
funny.
Christy asked if any of us
Which
want
one
to
had the
make
Dawkins soundtrack where they were doing lines with like they had backstage they had Freddy cut lines of Fun Time Powder.
I think that was the first one.
No, that had to be probably it was down the line. It was probably
Alright.
somewhere between 3 and 5.
Christy
Five, I
asked
think,
if
was
we know
the-
how to make silencers for cats. I think you could just use regular silencers. If you're not sure, ask these cats.
Yay!
James, you made that for him, didn't you?
Nah, that's some China people.
I picked that up on the internet.
China.
China.
But what are you guys' favorite horror flicks? Mine is between Scream and The Faculty. They were released roughly around the age I was interested in them, so they imprinted.
Imprinted like a mother with a baby bird.
Yes.
Well, Lore Raider says J Horror is slightly more consistent in his opinion. In fact,
Most
he
people
did
say
a
that.
video. He released a video today of analyzing the power scale of. I'm sorry, I was it from The Ring? I think I wasn't familiar with the character before, but it looked pretty interesting.
There's actually a movie out there that is essentially, it's not essentially, it is literally The Ring versus The Grudge. That's a real movie.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. The Japanese make mistakes too.
Yeah, it's called live action animated adaptations.
Some are good, but most are bad. And America is worse at it. Somehow. I couldn't believe it. That being said, like people are like, oh, Americans can't make live action anime. Like, yeah, neither can the Japanese for the most part. It's pretty much a failed experiment.
I mean, I don't know why you say America. It's not like every state is giving it the crack at it or something. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
look, Wisconsin failed at the latest movie. All of
Wisconsin
America
made a
sucks.
live action.
Listen, you guys got to shame each other into shape because you're looking bad to the rest of the world. You know, they're
Oh,
all
who
like,
cares? It's the rest of the world.
Actually,
Look at
I'm very I'm very comfortable blaming Wisconsin for a lot of things. No.
it. Damn you,
I just looked it up.
Wisconsin.
How powerful is Sadako? Is the
Uh-huh.
video he did,
Oh, nice.
and
nice.
I'm dropping the link in the chat.
Dropping
The
it
ring.
like a turd.
He likes the ring.
Frederick, do you have a favorite horror film, my friend?
listen, I was not a big horror fan. The ones I really liked were Freddy. So the
Yeah.
first Freddy was really
the first
good.
Nightmare. That's a good movie still.
Yeah, I liked them because they were very creative. I mean, they're kind of creepy still looking back today.
Oh, they are creepy. The hand in the bath, the bed, the everything. The
You
twist
had
at the twist at the end.
the first Johnny Depp in the first one. But yeah, the deaths were always very creative because it was dreamlike. He would adapt the deaths to the individual person that was getting attacked, and he would make them like it's like he's getting the fear out of. He's feeding off of the fear. Let's be honest.
Do you think he was a more effective villain of that nature than Pennywise the Clown?
I never watched it. I was never attracted by it, and everything I heard about it kind of turned me off.
Are
to
you
watching
attracted to Freddy? I'm just curious.
it. I had a friend who would show me like horror movies when I was a kid, and that was the one I thought was just a fun one. I mean, I also like in terms of really frightening movies, the OG. What's it called? The fucking OG zombie movie.
Night of the Living
Night of
Dead.
the-
Yes, the one with the
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 effects are pretty
scientific
intense.
dog like cut in half that comes to life. You know the
Oh, is
cutout?
that the Day of the Dead?
That's Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Might be. I
So
can't-
they're
I
in the
never
they're in
saw it.
the sort of the scientific lab, and there's like a cutout of a dog that's probably like a it looks like a scientific cutout, but it must have been a live dog at some point, and it comes to life with the whole thing. I don't know what the logic of,
Cemetery.
yeah,
Well,
that's a
that
different
first one, the original one, is pretty good. The new one, garbage.
Yeah, it's
Well, Christina says
Off
In the
them,
Mouth of
please.
Madness.
Yeah,
I've never seen
The
that.
only
I've heard
movie
of it.
that would
I
scare
haven't
her.
seen it either.
It
It's
Narrator
sounds like a
says-
Lovecraft thing.
it is very much. It is part of, I think, what they call Wes Craven's Apocalypse trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness involves Sam Neill, where he goes hunting down an author named Sutter Kane, and he gets dragged into this weird town, and a lot of Lovecraftian shit starts happening. And if you guys like Lovecraft, if you guys like
do.
horror films, it's a must watch. It's probably one of Sam Neill's best. If anybody remembers Sam Neill, he's a dude from freaking Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he was in a good vampire
Merlin.
flick as well.
Yeah,
He's-
Merlin. He's been in a lot of horror flicks, but yeah, it's a really great movie, and it also has a book twist on it as well.
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. Yeah, he was in Event
Love that.
Horizon too.
Love that. Does Misery
that
count as a
Event
horror movie?
Horizon is a wild film, and nobody besides us remembers it.
Oh, I was like,
I think Misery counts. Misery counts.
Yeah,
I
Misery counts.
I
I
really
sort of
like
have
that
mixed
one.
feelings on Event Horizon. It inspired a lot of stuff. I just think the actual
Yeah.
quality of the movie is somewhere in the middle for me.
I'm out there with
It's occasionally brilliant, and other times it's real
gotta-
early 2000s.
Some of it just gets like very
We
like
have
edgy.
Samuel and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. There was a lot of people in that film. Otter, do you have a favorite horror film?
I'm gonna be a basic bitch and say the first Alien movie is probably my
All right.
favorite.
All right, kid,
Yeah, a
kick
little
him
more of
out
a
of here.
horror
We
though.
can't have any basic
Hold on.
Otters around
No,
here.
you see-
I also like Stanley Kubrick's adaptation for The Shining quite a bit.
It's a-
Even though I know it
It's
butchers
basic,
a lot of
but
the
it's a very
characters
good
in the
film.
book.
I can't knock anyone who says
Oh,
that.
it's a
shitty.
classic.
Writing is basic, but I love the execution of the horror.
Yeah, it's masterpiece. Let's not kid ourselves.
It's interesting because it breaks most rules for horror. It breaks a lot of the it takes different window dressing and it scares you with things that should not scare you. I think that's part of what makes it so brilliant.
You can tell it's a movie made by someone who is
A
a
madman.
cinematographer first and a
Mhm.
writer a distant second.
A very distant second. Partially
Yeah,
because
somebody
it's
mentioned
nothing like the book.
Yes.
And I mean nothing like the book.
They're very
Interesting.
different.
I haven't read the book. Maybe that's another thing. I've been.
I still have my problems with the book, but the characters are so much better in the book. They really are.
I
And
believe
that's
it.
coming from somebody who has sort of mixed feelings on Stephen King as a writer.
I'm
But
sure the book is very perverted in its own ways too.
no, for the most part, it's there's like one or two like tiny bits, but compared to some of his other books, it's nowhere near
I mean,
like his normal.
His,
The
his books are
movies-
sometimes very, very
the
good,
movie's
though.
pretty perverted if you look closely as well. You know, there's
Oh,
the,
it is for sure.
the weird scene with the dog and the dog mask, the dog costume.
Oh,
guy.
it's even weirder in the book.
Oh, it is
Oh, yeah?
much weirder in the book. Yeah.
Well, that scene's actually in the book. I thought that was Stanley Kubrick.
No, it's actually
No.
in the book. It's an actual werewolf.
Only in the mind of Stephen King can you have a guy who is just
A
a
sex scene with a
hotel
werewolf.
employee basically mixing the big bad wolf and a blowjob joke into one. There you go.
Yeah, Stephen King is not for everyone.
Stephen
Like
King
that-
is he's a weird guy.
I like some of the adapted movies, but I'm not reading any of King's books anytime soon.
Cujo, I can recommend as a book without reservation. That book is really quite something.
The Stand is also pretty good.
I bought The Stand. That book is huge.
Yes,
One
I
book-
listened to the audiobook and it was like it
like
was over
50
8 hours.
Whoa.
One book I'll recommend without hesitation is the first Dark Tower book. That
Yeah,
book
the
is
Gunslinger.
really
That's
freaking
probably
good.
the only thing from King I've ever read was something that was related to the Dark Tower, because it was a short story about a gunslinger, and he ended up
Oh,
trying to play the
that's just the opener for the Gunslinger book. Yeah.
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 I like
and
the
I've never seen it. I mean, his stuff has become so ingrained into pop culture. People have not seen his stuff still recognize it.
yeah.
Like I've never seen it because, frankly, I hate clowns. Can't stand them. The only
Understand.
way you'll ever convince me to watch it is if Adam Sandler is in there as Happy Gilmore, just because at that scene at the mini golf course where he goes, "You're gonna die, clown," and clocks the thing with his golf club.
Splice those together.
That's an edit someone should definitely do out there.
The only horror movie I really like probably doesn't even count as horror. You guys have probably heard me say it before. Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
I think it counts.
There are horror
The first
elements,
one
but that's
counts.
definitely more a pulpy adventure.
But it's
Another horror
definitely
movie
turned-
that's really up there for me it has to be Jacob's Ladder. That movie also inspired
That
me.
I
was
never
weird.
saw that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It
love
is
that.
fire.
Psychological movie, right?
Yeah,
It literally inspired Silent Hill.
yeah.
Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, no, the Silence of the Lambs. It is horror, but it's more thriller.
Uh-huh.
But it is a very effective. Yeah, no, I am a Stephen King fan, but I don't love everything he's written. I think like The Mist was a really good book and very well done movie, except for the end.
I don't
He's
know
an
if
excellent writer
Yeah,
when he
sure
wants
is
to be,
horror.
but he's also a very perverted writer. Very perverted.
Yes.
the
Oh,
things Hannibal
yeah,
Lecter
no,
did were
he-
horrific, but I don't think it's horror. I think that's more thriller.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like a lot of horror. Like, where do you draw the line between horror and thriller? Thriller is psychological, and horror is gross. I've heard that comparison because,
they
like,
can kind
Like
of.
I don't consider Scream to be horror. I consider that to be a murder on the loose film.
that's horror, though.
Doesn't horror require you to have like a jump scare at some point?
Howdy har.
I don't know. The lines get messy. I like the movie Don't Breathe. Not really a horror, but it is horrifying. I think that's a
Yeah.
brilliant movie.
What about Pitch Black? Does that count as horror?
Oh, I think so.
I think it's black.
It's
Yeah.
kind of somewhere in the middle for me. I wouldn't say it's like a full-on horror movie, but it definitely has that sort of like it has
It's a
elements of
scary
horror
movie.
movies in there.
It's a scary movie.
Well, it's like Lost Boys is more a fun 80s vampire movie than a horror film, but there
Yeah.
are horror elements. So it's like it's all semantics. It really depends on how
Yes,
how
by
each
stereo.
individual is defining it. Like if
But
I had to
I
pick,
guess it comes down to what's the overall tone.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think my favorite horror film to this day, it's an oldie but a goodie. It's The Exorcist. I think
Oh, yeah.
that film is it's just brilliant.
That's
movie
probably
is
the
all
they do in
ultimate
that film.
horror movie.
And like people say, oh, it's not even scary. I'm like, yeah, but it does evoke some kind of, it evokes disgust. It
That
evokes
movie's fucked up.
dismay.
Wait a
It
minute.
makes you very uncomfortable.
What
Like,
kind of desensitized being tell you that the movie's not scary? That movie scared the shit out of people.
a
when it came
child
out.
acting like that is frightening because
Yeah.
it's not normal. It's not normal behavior.
Right. It's
very-
like that movie was made in the 70s. I rewatched it like a couple of years ago. I went, holy shit, this was allowed in a movie?
like some of the things she says when she's possessed is wild, and I
And
can't
now
believe
the
they got away with
most-
that.
But it's
frightening-
also the stuff she does with the cross. I'm like,
Oh, and
Jesus.
yeah.
Yes, I think that's
It-
what.
she needs Jesus after that.
She finds him.
The most frightening movie I'd ever seen that scared me to the bones and kept me just afraid for weeks on end. Pretty Woman. It's a horror flick.
Yeah,
Pretty
If-
woman.
I'm not lying. All of you men, rewatch that. And you try not to just grab Richard Gere by the collar and say, do you understand what the fuck's happening right now?
You and I
You'll be
talked about this,
for a
James.
ride.
By the way. You and I talked about this, I think, didn't we?
Yes, it's horrible. It's scary. It's frightening.
How about Ju-on the Grudge? What do you guys think of that movie?
Did
I
you
haven't
say-
seen it.
Wait. What did you just say?
Ju-on the Grudge. This is the Japanese horror version of The Grudge.
I thought
Before-
you were saying
before-
Jew on the Grudge. I was
No,
so-
the title is literally Ju-on the Grudge.
You yeah.
I heard it as Jew on the Grudge.
I seen a review
No,
of the
it-
movie, and
No,
it has a
it's
very
not
interesting
anti-Semitic.
history.
It's just a movie name.
It's just it's not anti-Semitic. It's just Japanese.
So I would say the one thing I don't like about the
Never
Grudge
saw it.
is the simplicity of it. Like you go in the house, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. The end. It's like as soon as somebody enters the house, I'm like, it doesn't matter what happens now. I know how it's going to end. So if I'm not wholly along for the ride, and I'm more in it for the story, like you're really not going to get much more than they went in the house, now they're all dead.
I do have a story of a movie that actually scared me. It's because of the setup. When I was probably 14, we were having our Halloween movie night that we had every year with me and a couple of my really good friends, and then my brother for some reason. No.
Yeah.
But my dad brought out, when we actually, I was maybe 13. He brought out the Blair Witch Project.
Oh,
And
nice.
that movie is frightening, but if you know what it is and that it's just a movie, it's not. It's obviously not. But if you're told that it is actual found footage, and
It's
you're led
frightening.
to believe that that's what it is, then it's a terrifying movie to watch.
And that's why the only movie more frightening than for me than Pretty Woman is the movie I brought up last time, or at least off screen, which was The Man Behind the Sun, which is essentially documenting what happened at Unit 731 in
Oh,
Japan
yeah.
with their biological testing. And that one frightened me, not because it was the most horrific stuff I've ever seen, though there are some very, very bad things, but it's because all of it actually happened.
Yeah.
That was the fright.
Yeah.
There was one I saw. So I had heard on the internet about this documentary that was kind of like blacklisted or kind of banned, and I found it in the library. There was a copy of it. And it's basically what happened in a insane asylum in the United States. Forget which state. And there's a lot of ugly stuff. There's force feeding through a tube, and the person is like smoking a cigarette, and you see some of the cigarette go into the force feeding tube and stuff like that.
Oh.
But the
Yeah, I've
most
seen that.
frightening thing, the scariest shit in the whole documentary is when they interview this guy. And this guy is super normal, super clear. And he says, yeah, they brought me in here when I was on a bender drunk, and they won't let me leave.
Mhm.
I can't contact my family. They won't let me leave, but like, I'm not mentally ill, but they just keep me in for observation. They just force the guy to perpetuity in the insane asylum. Once
That's
that
why I
is on
hate the concept of psych wards. I know they're necessary, but man, they can keep anybody in there with very little backing it up. That can be used as a prison.
Well, like
Well,
I said, yeah.
the horror behind it is that it's sort of like it doesn't take long for it to get into unethical experimentation in it. It's completely kind of like kept hush hush, and that's the most terrifying
also
thing
gives,
about it.
gives
There's
a normal person antidepressants and mood altering drugs, and they will not be sane anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
well, also
This
with
is
the psych ward, it's the loss of control that I think is terrifying for most people. It's that you're having people like doing these terrible things to you, and it's considered quote unquote for your own good.
Yeah, but I mean, you lock somebody in a psych ward. Anybody who comes in there, you tell them, "Look, I'm not supposed to be here," and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, all the crazies say that. Get away from me." You know?
So, what'd you guys think of Joker 2? Speaking of, it's like,
I thought nothing
Didn't
because
think of it.
I thought the first one was kind of it was a movie.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
The
totally
second
watched
one-
Joker 2. I didn't just
There's no
skip
reason
out
to
on
watch
it.
it.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't even
I
see
didn't
Joker
do that.
1.
I like
It's-
Joker
it-
1. It's
Joker
one of
1
those
is
rare films I
fine.
saw twice in the cinema.
Joker
Joker,
1 is
not
fine.
saying
Joker
that's what's
1
okay.
is not. I would never. I had no reason to ever watch it again after watching it once.
No, I
It's
agree.
a decent movie.
I watched it once. I really enjoyed it.
Jesus.
The second time, I was like, yeah, well, didn't really need to see it a second time. But no interest in the second one. Like, they had red flags all over. Like, Lady Gaga was the biggest red flag for me, but there
Yeah.
were others.
It's a musical.
actually
You guys
enjoyed-
remember Lady Gaga wearing a meat suit to a gala way back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
That
was
sounds on
really-
brand.
I actually enjoyed the first Joker movie more than I enjoyed the Batman. I did not like the Batman at all.
I've heard so many mixed opinions about that film. Some people love it, and other people cannot stand it. And I have no idea what
It's,
how to feel.
in my opinion, it's a highly pretentious movie. Like, I honestly, I think maybe with the exception of Batman versus Robin, you could watch just about any other Batman movie and have a better time.
Yeah. The only good comments I got was like, it's good for a while, and then the end kind of brings it back down. but like I haven't heard of the film ever since it came out. Like I don't hear anybody referring.
I heard it
back
was
to
super long too.
It drags a lot. It has a very slow pace. It has this oddly political tone, which feels very topical. You know, like
I can't stress enough how that I hate that
Yeah.
more than most things in fiction.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that got to me, because it's like, if that was there and it was just there for a little bit, I wouldn't have minded near as much. But the thing is, you've got like this very slow plotting movie that's treating itself like high art, and then it's injecting that kind of politics in there as like a main theme. I'm like, okay, fuck this movie, I'm out.
Unrelated,
That
but
trust
Frederick,
says Red Hood is the best Batman movie.
no.
I'll not
it's
quite
not.
agree with you there. It's a good one.
Oh,
but
that's
I think
it's because he has
Mask of
the Red Hood
Phantasm-
outfit. I want to get a bad Batman costume just so I could beat the crap out of him next time he says Red Hood is a better movie.
I
No,
think
I-
Mask of the Phantasm is probably the best Batman movie, in my opinion, that I've seen.
I think
Is it-
when it comes to the Batman films, he is thanks to Nolan, who kind of took a high art approach to some of his flicks of them.
I really
Now a
like
lot
the
of
Nolan
these
trilogy.
other ones are coming out. You know, I think we're going to get a bit artsy fartsy Batman for a while.
I didn't like The Dark Knight Rises very much. I
No.
love Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, though. Those are
I
two
like-
very good.
Okay,
movies.
okay. I have an actual hot one here for you.
All right, let's hear it.
I like the Dark Knight Rises more than the Dark Knight.
How dare you, sir?
Let
Let me ask
the
you one
fans will rip me
question.
they're gonna rip me apart like a corrupt politician in a movie.
Let me ask you one question. Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, really?
Is she really that bad though?
Yes.
He's got no ass, I can tell you that much.
Listen, there's only one
She-
Catwoman,
she
and it's
had-
Michelle Pfeiffer.
You're right, but I thought her acting was good. She really pulled off the sly kind of teasing and risky and dangerous kind of. I thought she pulled off the vibe correctly.
All right, now, I have one
Flat lack of this aside from that.
I hate to say it, but if you're gonna have an actress depict Catwoman, they have to be curvy in some respect.
They
Like,
should.
And
With-
they have to be
with
able
pretty
to
much
use a
every
whip.
With
in
pretty
one
much
take.
every depiction of Catwoman, she is always curvy. Like, this is an actual character trait.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And Bane's voice, it bothered me in theaters when I saw it, and then it never did again. I have no idea how to feel about it now.
Bane's voice.
I think the conclusion of Bruce Wayne's character arc in that film. Oh yeah.
I found
Sorry.
Batman's voice bothered me more. When the forced low
All right.
Batman voice.
Are you guys familiar with the YouTube channel Jester Bell?
I can't say I am.
Nope.
I'm
Well,
not-
this is a short she put up. I don't know if it was today or the other day, but you guys got to watch this now.
What the hell just happened to your
Okay,
voice?
this is legitimately the most Catwoman face I have ever seen in my life.
I've
That's
always
actually
thought
a
that
pic
about
of
her.
Marina Baccarin when she was younger, and it recently went viral because she said that she would like to play Catwoman. And there's pics of Catwoman. It's just perfect. I don't know what else to say. Like, she was already a character in Deadpool, Vanessa Carlyle, and she was a Leslie Tompkins in the Gotham show. So she's no stranger to superhero content. So I don't know if there would ever be a chance for her to actually play the character at this point. But even if not, she won the lottery. She has the most Catwoman face of all time. Oh,
What about Haley Berry? Or Holly Berry?
Get out.
Watch that movie as a comedy, and it's one of the best films ever made.
I have. You said you had probably the hottest opinion on Batman, but I have one slightly hotter. I don't really like
Oh.
Batman
No, that's
the
fair.
character in general.
That's
in
fair,
general.
actually.
I
Going
couldn't get
scorched
into it.
earth.
I do think
I-
the shadow is better.
I have a hotter opinion. I think
Yeah.
Batman is best when contrasted with Superman.
I just dropped a link to Jester Bell's channel in the chat if anybody is interested.
Very
I
good
could see
YouTuber.
that.
Head pat.
I could-
Head pat.
I could see that, Kahuna. They
What
are
do you
very
think about The
contrastable.
Dark Knight Returns, Kahuna?
No, Dark Knight Returns is Oh, that's my hot opinion.
Have a
I
great
forgot
night,
about that.
Crispy.
The Dark Knight Returns is one of the most overrated comics of all time.
Oh, here we go.
Never
If
read
you're
it.
talking art wise, I'll agree with you on that.
They have
Art-wise, I'm not
entire
Very
pages
neutral
of
on-
dialogue with nothing, with bad art and nothing happening, and it's not that interesting most of the time.
I actually really like the story, but I'll agree with you on the panels that are just
Like
filled
their
with
whole page
text
is like
and
this is a
everything.
page, and it's like panel.
It doesn't read very well either.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It does some good things, but the things that hold it back, because it is a visual medium, I have a lot of problems with the Dark. Like, I
actually
probably
got a
wouldn't have
point
as
there.
many problems with it if it wasn't held up as like a cornerstone of comics. I do not think it deserves that spot.
I think for me, it's like moment to moment delivery perspective. I'll agree with you on it being overrated, just because, like, even when I read it now and when I read it originally, it's like it doesn't read very well. The panel layout is kind of confusing. The actual layout of the text bubbles is very confusing.
Oh,
You often don't know who's speaking.
Also, real quick, I gotta address this. Batsauce likes Batman best when he's beating up an orphan. Anyway, continue, Otter.
But the macro story is what I really like. The him actually like reassuming his mantle as Batman at a very old age, ending kind of like his age-old rivalry with the Joker. Pretty much, him saying, "Yeah, me letting you live all these years, that was a me problem. You're out again. I'm not taking you back to Arkham. I'm killing you straight up."
I do like I do like the macro story, but even the details, I'm really.
I like how it sets up the fight between him and Superman. I actually think that's very well done.
If you want a good Batman and Superman story, not necessarily against each other, but just a good Batman Superman comic, read Public Enemies. That's a really good. That's maybe the best Batman and Superman comic where it's focused on them of all time, because basically they together take on most of the heroes and most of the villains in DC for a short period of time, and it's very illustrative of both of their characters.
You want to read a very overrated comic? Read Kingdom Come. Jesus Christ!
Yes, it's yeah.
I hated that comic. I really hated it. I know there's a lot of people who really like it. Great for them. I'm glad they enjoy it. It's just
I don't think you are
did
glad
not
they enjoy it,
go
but
with
I'm okay with that.
No, a good Batman Superman animated movie I saw was Batman Superman Apocalypse, I think it was called.
Yeah, no, that's a good movie.
That was where Summer Glau voiced what's her name? Superhero character.
It's about Supergirl landing, but it does a good job illustrating good things about both characters. I like ironically the show Young Justice has some of the best adult versions of the characters as well. Like Young Justice has maybe the best Lex Luthor I've ever seen on screen. Period.
I remember a Batman Punisher crossover I read once where Batman ended up telling the Joker to run for his life or else Castle was going to kill him. Actually sent the Joker running.
Am I the only one who's sick of Batman crossing over with everybody?
I am too. Honestly, I think for me it's kind of like Star Wars at this point, just in different ways, to where it's like I think it's oversaturated to the point where it needs a good long break. People need to put down the character.
Wait,
and when they do pick it back up, get actual writers.
See what they need to do. I found a way to save both Marvel and DC comics, right? Is what they do. Batman saves all of DC somehow, but gets transported into a place he's never been before. And where he wakes up is in the Golden Age Marvel comic books, alongside Golden Age Marvel comic book heroes, and he needs to find a way back to his DC universe.
He gets transported to 1990s LA. He doesn't make it 3 blocks.
He gets transported to the golden age of DC Comics. He's like, man, everything seems so much more like exciting here.
Pretty much. Go back 2 or 3 Bat Sauce comments. Not Batman is his best when he's beating up orphans, but the one before that. What are you smoking? She is a great actress. She looks like Catwoman. What is your wife's pregnancy confusing you? What's going on here, man?
Remember, Bad Sauce's main mission when they're interacting with people is to argue.
I understand, but he's just I can't allow someone to be this fucking wrong.
No, he's right. He's right. I agree with Bat Sauce because she's not Michelle Pfeiffer. Of course, it wouldn't be today's Michelle Pfeiffer, obviously.
You need to adjust your pants or something, man. The way you said that. Anyway. 1 second.
Listen, I grew up in the 90s, okay? She left a mark on me.
I mean, she is pretty hot.
What can I say?
I couldn't help but think, though, Vicky Vale looked a lot like Samus Aran.
Anyway, guys, I got to get going here.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, Ultimate Kahuna.
It's okay. It's
she
okay.
She could be Catwoman. She could be Catwoman.
You're
It's
French.
okay.
You're French. It can't be helped. No, I'm kidding. I'm also French, but anyway. Hey, peace out, guys. God bless. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Later,
God
Kahuna.
bless Kahuna.
Wait, last one. Let me turn this up.
Woohoo! Out.
Woo.
That
Of
sounded
course,
like
I'm
on-
saying that when I'm cheating when I said Vicky Vale looks like Samus Aran because in Super Metroid, it was her that they used for kind of inspiration for her look in that when they did the sprite for that.
I love how they've changed the look for Samus, like in those earlier games compared to what she looks like now. Wasn't it like in the original game she had like green hair or something?
No, that was when you went to play through without the power suit showing, and when you get the Various suit, they change colors to show you've got the upgrade.
There was also a bit where she had like brown hair.
Yeah, she was more like brown, dirty blonde, but
Yeah.
overall, her look wasn't. I mean, even though the series was inspired by Alien, but her look was inspired by Kim Basinger.
Yeah. It was more like Zero Mission, I think, where they gave her like the blonde look where she still has that look today.
I mean, she's still kind of blondish, and it was more of a dirty blonde when you look at the sprites for Super Metroid. If you beat it fast enough, it shows her without the power suit. It's kind of like dirty blonde. Lore Raider says Pfeiffer is still able to use that whip.
Dude, she did it in one take. Took the head off, 3 mannequins in one freaking take.
She's got it.
Well, it's uncomfortable in that suit, so she had to get it right the first time.
Damn, yeah. She didn't complain like today's Hollywood starlets.
Well, anybody ever watch Farscape?
I haven't. I've been meaning to check it out, honestly, just because you hear a lot of recommendations for Farscape. It does look fun.
It does get wacky and out there at points, but it was a fun, good show. But when Zan, she was a cool character. Unfortunately, the actress had to stop playing her because she was blue. But that meant the body paint she was in and day out was starting to make her sick, and she had to stop.
Oh.
That's why they killed her off the show. She couldn't keep doing it. It was literally making her sick.
Wow.
Which was a bummer because she was such a cool character.
It is a bummer, but I completely understand why they had to do that.
They brought her back for a cameo, and obviously it wasn't the living her. It was inside a computer system that was. It was actually one of the characters made a cyberspace game, and when you get to the end, you meet Zan, and because it was the character was actually in a relationship with her, made her in there, so that was her cameo for like one episode reappearance for like 5 minutes. Lore Raider asks, anyone going to watch that Tomb Raider Netflix show? I don't know. I mean, I don't have Netflix, but I mean, I heard they cast Haley Atwell as the voice, and I think that's a good pick.
I'm not going to watch it. Most likely it's going to be woke. And in my book, wokeism is right next to Nazism, and I wouldn't support a little Nazism in my entertainment. I'm not going to support a little wokeism either.
I hope not. Laura Croft is a great character to get right, and it's so bad when you get her wrong.
Absolutely. I'm going to wait out. Like, if I hear an abundance of great things, I'll tune in and check it out, give it a shot. But I'm going to bet it's going to be like a turd unless I hear otherwise.
Yeah. Kahuna. I don't know. I mean, Haley Atwell, she's kind of got it. Granted, I know it's just her voice, but you know, she's usually a good performance. So it's going to come down to the writing, I think. Of course,
she's going to be fat with no ass.
Yeah, if you want to know, if you want to hear from someone really into always the big Tomb Raider fan.
You're
Laura Croft.
really cutting out there, Wrangler.
I'll step outside; it'll get better.
After this, I'm going to go ahead and watch another horror movie. Each horror movie I watch, I'm turning them all into, I'm producing an AI song for them, and I'm turning them into their own montage, to their own
Cool.
song.
I just watched the one for the next Art Chill stream. Thing from another, land or something?
Thing from Another World. I still need to watch that. I'm really looking forward to watching it.
Dude, it made me think of Alien so much. There's a lot of Alien.
Is that the black and white film, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I know the one.
Yep. It's good. It's really good. The dialogue, especially. Well, we're coming off The Blob from 1958, which had a lot of problems. Still a fun watch. Really enjoyed it, watching it. But I can't really say it's a great movie. You know, there's a lot of flaws. It's a good B movie, I'd say, probably.
And now that I'm outside and can speak clearly, I forgot what I was going to say.
It happens. It'll come back to you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Somebody who's a big time Laura Croft fan, the YouTube channel Melanie Mac Go Boom. She loves Laura Croft, and she hates all the way they've changed her in recent times.
Yeah, honestly, I can't really blame her because how Lara Croft was originally, she was kind of like...
she was meant to be a bombshell.
Yeah, she was a bombshell. They were basically Indiana Jones games in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And
it's in the name Tomb Raider. Now she has to put the artifacts from the museum back into... See, it's in the name.
It belongs in a museum.
Well, people love the original Lara Croft for a lot of the same reasons why people love Bayonetta. It's like, yeah, they're sexy, but they kind of own it. That's kind of their whole thing.
Yeah. Ultimate Kahuna. Oh, what do you guys think of The Fifth Element? I watched
Love it.
It's a live action anime.
It's the most one of the most rewatchable movies I've got. The transitions are like perfect. Every scene, like there's always a transition from one scene to the other. They complete the sentence from the previous scene in a funny way. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it.
I'll have to rewatch it because I don't think I really got like a strong opinion on it. I'll have to rewatch it.
Here is my hot take for The Fifth Element and several of the other movies I've seen her in. I don't think Mila Jovovich is all that hot. Some of that, like, that's definitely personal preference, but I'm like, whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm there with you. I mean, she's definitely a beautiful lady, but she's not. I don't know. I like curves. She doesn't have much for curves. She was very fit.
Same for me. It's like she is pretty. It's just she doesn't do it for me. She is a great actress, though. I'll give her that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to insult her. She's not my physical type.
She is a good actress, though. Like, she played Joan of Arc, and right after with the same director. Except it's like half of the movie is her going out fighting the English as Joan of, well, she's Joan of Arc. And the second movie is she's caught and she's in the prison, and she's like with Dustin Hoffman, who's like this ghost figure where she's like, he's not really there. It almost feels like a book, like when a movie starts to act like a book. First half of that movie is really, really good. Second half is, I would turn it off. But yeah, man, she can get intense in those scenes. She really dedicated.
I've seen a scene or two from that. I do have a question though. Was she swinging a sword in that one?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, because the real Joan of Arc did not use a sword.
Well, she finds a sword as a symbol at the beginning, but no, she does fight towards the end. But at the beginning, she's bringing peace with the banner. But towards the end, she figures that she has to fight, and she's the one that leads the army because the army gives up, and they're like, well, this is not worth it, or is this not the right time? And she's like, what are you guys doing? Come on, let's go. And she initiates the combat. So yeah, she's very, very active. Despite it's true that the first battle she comes with the flag. She has her flag made and everything. And I think they don't want to give her a weapon at the beginning because they're like, oh yeah, we just gotta. They told us we have to bring this woman along to the war, but you know how it is. It's like have her stand over here and hold the flag, and well,
that's what gave her. That's what gave her the respect from everybody, is because she would charge with them with the flag in hand.
Yeah, she was giving her life for her mission.
Yeah, because I would love to see historically accurate adaptation all the way through. Because like they said, chased off prostitutes, but she never used her sword in battle. Yeah. And that's where things get mixed up. I just like, history, not being too spoiled as it is, because there's so much of history that's just been lost and shit.
That's why we have folks like Readout.
Yeah, and movies a lot of times they don't really do history like justice a lot of times.
I understand there's artistic liberties, but try and stay true to what happened. I know you gotta drum up some drama.
Like one movie that almost I'm gonna say it's like helped destroy fucking America is the movie Roots. Or I think it was a miniseries called Roots. They aired back in the day. That was 100% fictional depiction of what they wanted the depiction of slavery for the African Americans to be. And if you watch Roots, you'll laugh a lot. And anybody who knows history knows that's 100% fictionalized. And a lot of people believe that type of slavery is what happened when it really did it.
Kahuna says Joan of Arc should be played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, and to your point, James, a lot of films they mix up, they funnel up the history on purpose as well.
I'm looking at you. Is it James Cameron? He made I believe it was James Cameron made a number of historical projects that are very, very loosely based. Let's put it that way. He's the one that did Kingdom to Heaven, correct? Because that one was terrible.
I do not know. I'm not familiar with that at all.
Let me look it up real quick. I'm not familiar with it myself.
Kingdom of Heaven with Orlando Bloom. He plays I forgot which knight he plays.
Oh no, it's Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. There you go. Ridley Scott. He makes a number of terrible historical films.
Yeah, like Prometheus.
Amongst those others.
Slightly hot take. I think the movie's decent, but one movie that kind of fits under that bill is Gladiator. Kind of hampers my enjoyment for it a little bit.
That's not historically accurate?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it not historically accurate or not, but my real problem with it is it feels like it feels like an actor from the aughts playing in a movie in ancient times instead of like an actual person in the ancient times, if that makes any sense.
If I want historically accurate, I'll watch the Flintstones.
I do not see someone who's actually being like cast into slavery and having to fight his way through. I'm seeing Russell Crowe acting that part.
We're getting near wrap-up time, so is there anything else you guys want to cover before we do?
Nothing that comes to mind.
Yeah, until we end the stream, and all of a sudden we're going to have all sorts of stuff that pops up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I should have.
That's
Well,
how you.
that's the thing. It's usually whenever we're just like fucking around afterwards. That's whenever we find the really good shit to talk about that we just completely forgot
I was
about.
like, why didn't we hit the record on that and post that later? Because sometimes some of our best conversations is after we shut off the stream.
We should have an
really.
after stream for paid members.
Oh boy.
You guys ever get that? You're hanging out with a buddy or your family or whatever. You're all just sitting there kind of quiet. And as soon as somebody gets up and tries to leave, all of a sudden a big conversation erupts when someone's like, I got to go.
That was like the nightmare of my childhood. Like we were finally, it's time to go home. We're getting dressed. It's time to go. And then the parents would keep talking and talking and talking. And they would like go one thing to the other. And you're like, come on, let's go. It's time to leave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Frederick's
I
over
remember.
there like,
Just do it!
Yeah. You have no pull as a kid. What are you going to do?
Oh,
All
do
right.
you guys have any Halloween stories that you're going to be reading in preparation for the end of the month? Not talking movies, but any short stories or any novels that you guys are reading. Any
I
comics?
finished short story. It's in the editing process. That'll be releasing soon. But I actually read for the first time Call of Cthulhu today.
Oh,
No
nice.
comment. No comment. I didn't like it.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Let's
honestly,
see.
I've never had any interest in it. Even with everybody talking about it, all the references everywhere. I'm like, okay, Cthulhu.
Well, don't
I-
forget your
I just
dictionary
never
if you're gonna
cared.
read it.
I
I have no horror readings planned for the end of the month, but I do have my Dracula comic book by Mike Mignola, which I might flip through another time. It's so freaking cool.
Oh,
No,
nice.
maybe I'll go watch Wesley Snipes' Blade.
I've been
Dude,
reading
yeah.
some of. I have like a compendium of like horror themed short stories. There's some by Robert Louis Stevenson in there. He does really good horror, as well as Bram Stoker and who else am I thinking? There's a couple of stories by Nathaniel Hawthorne that are really freaking good. I really enjoy them.
Well, Horizon Talkers getting together a bunch of short story writers to all link to each other to put up for Halloween. So we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah.
I know in Substack, I always get like fucking added to on this huge list of ads now. So that's it.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know where it started that or where it came from, but it's there.
I get added multiple times throughout the week, and I think even my notifications on Substack have just started filtering all of it out because it's so much, and I'm like, I don't know like 90% of people I'm being related to.
I really got to start figuring out how to use Substack properly, because just the user interface itself, I'm not the most familiar with, and so I go on there every once in a while. I finally figured out how to put posts on there, but there's like there's posts, there's notes, and I don't know what it all is. But Black Knight's trying to encourage me to become more active on there.
So it started out as Substack just being a blog platform, but then ever since they got blacklisted by Twitter and X, they're kind of trying to be their own alternative to Twitter and X. So that's what all of that is. Like notes are basically their version of like Twitter posts or something like that.
Okay. I didn't know they were blacklisted.
Yeah, Twitter, like X, really does not like Substack. They really
Why?
do not like it.
Why is that pre-X Twitter or current Twitter still?
I don't know if it's current Twitter still. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I just know there for a long while when I was doing reviews like every week. Yeah, Twitter tried suppressing it as much as they could.
Yeah, because I never even heard of Substack till I met all you guys, and I finally made a Substack just to see what you guys were trying to point me to. But lately, Black Knight's trying to get me to start doing more stories and putting them on there.
What keeps traction for a lot of people on Substack is email lists. That's really where a lot of the foot traffic comes in for Substack. Is if you get an email from one of the articles on there, you're much more likely to read it than trying to share it through X or Twitter and just having it be suppressed as much as possible.
And then when I finally did post some stuff on there, eventually Black Knight commented on one of them. Why wasn't I tagged? I'm like, huh? Tagged? Which that's another thing. Even on the X Twitter, I still haven't gotten in the habit of utilizing tags to draw attention to stuff. I just post it and it sits there and nobody knows because there's no tagging on it.
Yeah, so I've used X and Twitter a lot more, at least in recent months. There's a whole method to the madness on X where it's like, in order to get a lot of shares, there's certain things you need to do. Quote retweets are really encouraged. Comments are there, as well as if you're going to do an original post, it's usually best to share like media or artwork with it. That's pretty much what pleases their algorithm, and it gets boosted.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what Frederick's working on right there is going to be the final piece of my next Substack post.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's New World Detectives, The Legend of Shalar. And that's going to be the picture posted with it. Because James actually made the picture for my first post on there, with the planets all aligning and being huge in the sky. That goes with my first post because it fits that. And then my second post was just Haley Star Chapter 1 with a picture of Haley. Second one is Haley Star Chapter 2 with a picture of Elizabeth. But yeah, this is going to be the first short story that's its own short story, and Frederick's working on the visual for it. So once that gets wrapped up, I'll give it one final polish and put it up there.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I just finished the costume. So basically, I added him the same costume as Sabrina had before him, with dropping a few things that were kind of excessive on Sabrina's as well, as the katanas and stuff. But I think the costumes are pretty much down. We were talking about the blacks earlier, like the shadows and all that. I nailed down the shadows on the legs and arms a little bit. And all that's pretty much left is the background. So we've got the Hollywood sign on the top with the hill. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of city on the sides, sprinkled here and there.
Nice. Yeah, when I was writing that, when I first started writing that, I'm like, it's set in LA. I've never been to LA. So I contacted Trippy, because he's out in California. I said, hey, what's LA really like? The only examples I have is what's shown in movies. And he goes, yeah, it's pretty much like that, except with turds on the streets.
So do you want me to add turds at the bottom here, Wrangler?
No.
We're good? Okay.
No, since it takes place in the year 2000, that's pre-turd.
That's good. Because it was going to cost extra anyway, so.
Yeah, and I got that other short story about the biblical version of hell, which may or may not be going up for this month. I don't know yet.
Interesting. That is a good topic for this month, if it's ready.
All right, I guess we will do the wrap up. So, parting plugs, starting with James.
All right, I am currently working on a short story. That is going to be releasing as soon as it's done on my Substack at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com. That's going to release before the end of the month because it is a horror story and it is the horror season. So you'll be seeing that drop soon. I also have Glimmerleaf, the full audio adaptation video. It's going to be releasing on my YouTube channel literally tomorrow. That's coming out tomorrow. It's already the 14th. I just look like, wow, I I got to get that ready. Probably at 5 a.m. my time, I'll drop that tomorrow. Check it out. It's going to be fun. It's like 40-ish minutes long. There's a lot of artwork in it. It's yeah, you're going to like it. There you go. I'm going
to have to change out the link in the descriptions for next week because I think this could still apply, but it's going to have to go to a different spot.
The undead are planning to attack, and it's up to Gwendolyn the gnome to deliver word to the humans before they're taken by surprise. Glimmerleaf, link in the description.
Yes, and I always would love to hear everyone's feedback because it has a twist ending. It's also the first of a number of stories, and I'm writing the second one right now, and that's going to be up as soon as that's done, hopefully before the end of the year.
Awesome.
But you could catch that video tomorrow at World Without End Lore here on YouTube.
All right. Otter.
Well, I'm finishing up with my second book as we speak. Still getting some beta reader feedback in place, but my second novel for Steel and Stormbright is coming along very nicely.
Give me the book. Give me the book. Give me the book.
Patience is a virtue, my friend. In the meantime, I'm always on YouTube. I'm also getting some artwork commissioned for my second book, which I'm very excited about, from a few different artists, actually. One of them who's actually in the same room here.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, so
Yes,
on
yes.
top of that, I have a YouTube channel where I normally make content updates. I also plan on actually hopping into this Halloween horror story, short story write-a-thon that's going on with Horizon Talker. So I'm wondering if this might be a good chance for me to get back into the Substack scene. It has been a hot minute, honestly.
All right.
But that's pretty much where you can find me.
And Herman P. Hunter is the Lord Forge, a.k.a. The Hedge. Says, where was that?
Where was what?
That's what I'm not sure. Good to see you, Hedge, but not sure what you're asking.
He's probably asking this room.
Or maybe he's just taking a jab. Lore Raider says, good stream, folks. Thanks, Lore Raider. And then Herman comes in, where was that? So where was a good stream?
Where was what?
Oh, the otter knows the stream.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The otter knows.
The Algar knows.
The water weasel knows.
Argar.
All right, so from the water weasel to the land weasel. Frederick.
My name is Frederick. I am also known as the man with no Substack. I do have a pointer address, imakecomics.com. I'll take you to ratelcomic.com where you can see art of the comic I'm working on, as well as some progress and links to my socials, X, Noster, if you're into that. And I've also got a YouTube stream coming up tomorrow where I'm going to be working on this little illustration again and maybe get to start inking this little bad boy as well. So tune in, check it out.
Sweet. Yep, his stream starts shortly after James's stream.
8 Eastern Central. 8 Eastern, not Eastern Central. That doesn't make sense. 8 Eastern.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern.
That's right.
And you can find my stuff on Amazon, Haley Star Bad Kitty, and the follow-up Bad Kitty Haley's World. Both are available now. I am currently working on the 3rd and 4th books in this series. You can also find me on Substack, the X Twitter, Truth and Minds under Frequency Studios. And yeah, you can check out my YouTube videos. I have some full spoiler coverage for indie comics and the Metroid manga, so you can check those out. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This was a fun stream tonight. Thanks, everyone, for stopping in. Also, don't forget to check out the Lore Raiders channel, Kahuna's channel, and AC has a channel, too. He was on here earlier. He's got a channel, Bat Sauce. He was in here. He's got a channel. Check all those guys out. They're a blast. If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like. And if you didn't, I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time. And God bless.
And come on, scroll. Thank you.
Bye-bye, world. Bye-bye now. We're going home.
Wait, we're already home, James. What are you talking about?
No, we're at their house on their TV in their living room.
Oh no! Quick! Bring me back!
We are disconnecting as we speak.
Jewish space laser.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bonsoir.
Good night.
I don't
Hasta
care.
luego.